Morning settled over Houston's worn-down East End as Beatrice Anderson rolled up the gate of her tiny tailoring shop. The air was heavy, the kind that told you trouble had started before you even knew it. Across the street, a black SUV idled, engine running, windows tinted, watching her the way creditors watch a clock. Inside, Beatrice tried to steady her hands over a torn blazer when the phone rang again. "Is this Beatrice Anderson? Confirm your business address." "For what?" she asked. Silence. Then the line died. Mr. Samuel glanced up from his chair. "You in some kind of trouble, child?" "I don't know," she whispered, though her heart knew something had shifted. At 9:58 a.m., the bell over the door chimed. A woman in a flawless navy suit stepped inside, eyes sharp, steps precise. "Ms. Anderson," she said, "we need to discuss last night. The man whose suit you repaired. Gregory Ashford." Beatrice's breath caught. Billionaire. Power. Consequences. And somehow, her name was now tangled in his world. What happens next? Stay with us. And subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for more gripping stories. The woman in the navy suit didn't blink as she stepped deeper into the shop, her heels clicking against the worn wooden floor like a countdown Beatrice hadn't realized had begun. Outside, the SUV door opened and two more suits approached, moving with that silent confidence of people who believed the world cleared a path for them wherever they went. "Ms. Anderson," the woman repeated, her voice smooth but tense. "We need to speak privately." "Now." Beatrice's throat tightened, yet she held her ground. "If this is about payment, he already tried." I refused. "I don't owe anyone anything." A shadow passed over the woman's face, respect mixed with disbelief. "This isn't about money. It's about Mr. Gregory Ashford." The air shifted. Even Mr. Samuel stopped breathing. The name cracked open something Beatrice wasn't prepared to face. Last night he was just Gregory, the exhausted father, the man trembling under the weight of decisions bigger than himself. Now the name carried power, wealth, and a world far outside her reach. The woman gestured toward the door. "He's on his way. And Ms. Anderson, he's not coming alone." Before Beatrice could respond, a jagged noise filled the room, the screech of another car pulling up too fast. A second SUV slammed to a stop across the street. A tall man in a charcoal suit climbed out, moving with an aggression that didn't bother hiding itself. His expression was sharp, bitter, burning with a fury that had been waiting for a target. The woman in navy muttered under her breath, "Not him. Not today." "Who is that?" Beatrice asked. "Someone who believes your act of kindness ruined his plans." The man stormed toward the shop, yanking the door so hard the bell nearly ripped from its hook. "Where is she?" he snapped. "Where is the tailor who cost me the merger projections I worked 6 months on?" His eyes landed on Beatrice, and in that instant she understood. He was the villain in Gregory Ashford's world, the one who stood to gain from the factories closing, the jobs lost, the chaos that would follow. And he wanted someone to blame. "You!" he hissed, pointing at her. "You're the reason Ashford walked into that board meeting preaching about compassion like he's running a charity. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Beatrice steadied herself. "I repaired a suit." "No," he growled, stepping closer. "You sabotaged an entire corporate strategy. And I intend." He didn't finish. The navy-suited woman stepped between them. "Mr. Keller, you are out of line. Stand down." "I will not," Keller snapped. This woman interfered with internal matters she had no right to be part of. "She did nothing but show humanity," the woman countered. "You're angry because her decency exposed your motives." Beatrice caught the tremor in the woman's tone. This battle had been building long before today. Keller sneered. "I don't care what she intended. Ashford listened to her. Ashford changed because of her. And now the entire merger structure is off balance." "And yet," the woman said, "the board has already voted. The decision is done." Keller turned back to Beatrice, eyes cold. "You should have taken the money," he said quietly. "Then this would all be over for you." Before Beatrice could speak, Another sound cut through everything, the muffled rumble of a third engine. Slowly, a black sedan glided to a stop directly in front of the shop. The air thickened. Even Keller straightened, adjusting his tie with a sour twist of his mouth. The door opened. Gregory Ashford stepped out. He wasn't the frantic, rain-soaked man from last night. This version was composed, sharp, carrying the aura of someone who had just moved mountains in a morning board meeting. Cameras followed him. Reporters shouted questions that bounced off security guards like hail. But his eyes found Beatrice instantly, and they softened. Inside the shop, the tension swallowed the room whole. Keller crossed his arms. "Here to clean up your mess, Ashford." Gregory ignored him completely. Instead, he approached Beatrice with a quiet sincerity that disarmed her. "Thank you for letting me come," he said. Before she could respond, Keller stepped forward. "You told the board she inspired your pitch. You jeopardized our timelines because of a Tailor." Gregory turned, his gaze sharpening into something colder than ice. "I didn't jeopardize anything," he said. "You did." Keller's jaw twitched. "Excuse me. You pushed for layoffs without exploring alternatives. You ignored projections that would have saved jobs. And you underestimated the impact of leadership rooted in integrity." Gregory's voice dropped lower. "That's why the board removed you from the merger team this morning." Keller blinked, stunned, speechless. But Gregory wasn't finished. "You'll also be placed under review for manipulating numbers to make layoffs appear more profitable than they were." He signaled to the woman in navy. "Ms. Brooks has the documentation." The woman handed Keller a folder. "We found everything," she said. "Every adjustment. Every omitted variable." The color drained from Keller's face. "You have no authority," he sputtered. "I do," Gregory cut in, voice steady. "You gambled with people's livelihoods. You forgot what this company stands for. Effective immediately, your access is revoked." Security moved before Keller could argue. He stumbled back, rage boiling over. "This isn't over, Ashford." "Oh, it is," Gregory said calmly. "And for the record, Ms. Anderson had more integrity in 4 hours than you've shown in 4 years." The door shut behind Keller as security escorted him out, his shouts fading into the street. Silence filled the shop, this time peaceful, not suffocating. Gregory turned back to Beatrice. Emotion flickered in his eyes. Not pity, not admiration alone, but something deeper. Recognition, gratitude, understanding. "I know this morning has been overwhelming," he said gently, "but there's something you need to hear. Something I didn't say last night." Beatrice steadied herself, unsure whether to lean in or run. "You didn't fix my suit," Gregory continued. "You reminded me what leadership is supposed to be. You saved 300 jobs because you saw me as a person, not a paycheck. And I intend to honor that." He signaled to Ms. Brooks. She opened a leather folder and placed a set of documents on the counter. "This," Gregory said, "is what I want to offer you. Not charity. Not a handout. A partnership." Beatrice blinked. "A partnership. With Ashford Industries," he said. "To build something permanent out of what you did last night. Tailoring centers in every major facility. Training programs. And you at the head of it." Her knees weakened. Gregory stepped closer. "You deserve more than survival. You deserve a future where your talent expands, not shrinks under bills and blackout nights." Tears slipped down her cheeks, not from fear but release. "And Keller?" she asked quietly, needing clarity. Gregory's expression hardened. He tried to exploit the merger for profit. He manipulated data to justify layoffs. He used people as leverage. He forgot human cost. He paused. Today was his reckoning. The words settled like warm justice. Outside, Keller's angry shouts dissolved into the distance, swallowed by the city that no longer belonged to him. Inside the shop, Beatrice felt something she hadn't felt in years. Possibility. Real breathing possibility. Gregory's voice softened. You changed my company. Let me help change your life. She didn't answer right away. She looked at her mother's sewing machine, the faded article on the wall, the scarred table she'd worked at for years. All of it carried struggle but also strength, her strength. When she finally met Gregory's eyes, she didn't tremble. Then tell me, she said, what happens next? And Gregory smiled, because the real story was only beginning. In the days that followed, Beatrice moved through her shop with a steadiness she hadn't felt in years. The noise from Keller's scandal faded, replaced by murmurs of admiration from people who had once walked past her door without seeing her at all. What surprised her most wasn't the attention, but the calm that settled inside her, the quiet understanding that she had stepped into a life she hadn't dared to imagine. Each morning, she arrived before sunrise, unlocking the same door she'd opened for so long, only now the future didn't feel like something she had to outrun. Gregory visited often, not to direct her, but to listen. Their conversations shifted from fear and survival to plans, possibilities, and the kind of leadership that grows out of choosing what's right even when no one is watching. One evening, as she adjusted a new spool of thread on her upgraded machine, she caught sight of her mother's photograph hanging near the window. The light hit the frame just so, and for a moment it felt like the past and the present were holding hands. Beatrice smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because she finally understood her mother's lesson. Some truths don't need to be spoken loudly to change the course of a life. Outside, the street buzzed with new energy. Workers from the nearby plant waved as they passed, grateful for a future they nearly lost. And somewhere in the distance, a siren faded into the night, carrying the remnants of Keller's downfall far from her door. Beatrice turned off the lights one by one, leaving the shop glowing warm behind her. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but she no longer faced them alone. She stepped outside, breathed in the cool air, and whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so we can continue bringing powerful stories to life.